Everyone who met him remembered one thing: he was easy to like. The kind of guy who smiled at the right moments, spoke calmly, looked you in the eye when he talked. Nothing about Wade Wilson screamed danger. And that's the part that still haunts people, because behind that friendly face, there was something deeply broken. This is the story of Wade Wilson, a man the internet would later call the Deadpool Killer. Not because he wore a costume, but because his real life felt stranger than fiction. It began in Florida. If you passed Wade on the street, you wouldn't have noticed him. Well-dressed, well-spoken, confident, but not loud. Friends said he was smooth. Strangers said he felt trustworthy. And that's exactly how he got close. On a single day, two women crossed paths with Wade Wilson. They didn't know each other. They had nothing in common, and neither of them sensed what was coming. By nightfall, both were gone. When investigators looked back, one detail stood out. This wasn't chaos. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't someone losing control. It was planned, cold, deliberate. As police began retracing the day, Wade's name kept resurfacing. Security cameras, phone data, witnesses, everything pointed in the same direction, to him. When detectives finally brought him in, they expected cracks, fear, denial, something. Instead, they got calm, too calm. Wade didn't raise his voice, didn't break down, didn't seem worried. At moments, it felt like he believed he was still in control, that he could talk his way out like he always had. And that confidence wasn't accidental. Wade knew people. He knew how to mirror emotions, how to say exactly what someone wanted to hear. To one person, he was polite and respectful. To another, funny and charming. But prosecutors would later say this wasn't personality, it was manipulation. As the trial began, the public reaction was intense. People stared at his photos and asked the same question: how could someone who looks like that do something like this? Online, a nickname spread fast: the Deadpool Killer. It stuck, not as a joke, but as a symbol of the disturbing contrast between who he seemed to be and who he actually was. Inside the courtroom, the charm disappeared. Evidence was presented piece by piece. Patterns emerged. Excuses collapsed. The jury didn't hesitate. Wade Wilson was found guilty. Then came the sentence. Multiple death sentences. For many, it felt like justice finally caught up. But even after the verdict, the story refused to fade. Years later, documentaries revisited the case, not to glorify him, but to understand him. Psychologists spoke about extreme narcissism, about lack of empathy, about how some people learn to wear masks so well they almost believe them themselves. Because the truth is, monsters don't always look frightening. Sometimes they smile, sometimes they blend in, sometimes they feel safe. And that's what makes this case so terrifying. The Wade Wilson story isn't just about murder, it's about trust, about deception, about how evil doesn't always announce itself. So ask yourself one thing: if you met him on the street, would you have seen it coming?